Hi everyone, I'm Jigar Sagar, a serial entrepreneur, strategic investor, and a government advisor. As a part of building my legacy of creating a platform for entrepreneurs and enabling entrepreneurship, I became an investor judge on the hit TV show The Final Pitch Dubai. As a part of that journey, I came across some wonderful people, founders, and individuals that left an impact on my life. Today, I'm sitting with two such people that left an impression. Max and Menna from Ejaby.
Hi,
I
Jigar.
want to thank you for coming here. And, I want to give you the floor to speak a little bit about yourself and just introduce yourself. Start with you, Menna.
I'm Menna Shahin. I'm a co-founder of Ejaby. I have my background is pharmaceutical, tech, entrepreneurship, and I am passionate about changing the world using the tech and women empowerment.
Amazing. What about you, Max?
Well, first of all, I'm a very lucky man because this is my co-founder, but also my partner in life. And everything she just mentioned is 100% true. So my name is Max. I'm from the Netherlands, from origin. I left that country almost 20 years ago and started my big journey in Japan and then all over the world. I've done that within the big corporation, so I got quite some corporate experience there. I'm very passionate about the startup life, actually, taking the challenge every single day again. And if you can do that by leaving an impact on society, I mean, that's a win-win.
Great.
You're saying everything I'm saying true. Will I lie in front of the camera?
Listen, there you go, right? It just shows how well you get along. And listen, the fact that you mentioned that you're a real life couple, not just co-founders, that adds to the complexity of the relationship. But before touching on that, I want to talk a little bit about the history, the background, right? Things that you've done to get you to where you started caring about entrepreneurship and startup. So at which point in your life, Menna, starting with you, did you think you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I didn't know what entrepreneur means in the beginning. I have this initiative when I wanted to empower women through traveling. I was 26. I saw a lot of women cannot travel alone and they didn't see the world and they need empowerment. So I built this initiative where I had more than 500,000 women following myself and seeking for empowerment. And when I started it, when you start something and you need to create a business, so this could be sustainable and could work. So you started to be exposed to the entrepreneurship, to this word, and then you understand more and more. You understand what does it mean, entrepreneurship, startup. But I didn't know this is what I wanted till I had it.
Okay.
So
So it came out of a need more than you actually thinking out and setting out to become an entrepreneur. It was more about what you were doing, following your passion, and just happened to be that entrepreneurship was a means to empower your passion.
yeah.
And what about you? Listen, the corporate life, multinational corporates, stable, safe, secure jobs in life, you get your paycheck on time and, no risk out there, well, to an extent. But what's the fun in that, right? So where did this spark of entrepreneurship come in for you?
Well, actually, I always talk about, let's take a step back, the way I was basically raised and educated. Bless my parents, by the way, they're amazing. But obviously, when I was younger, I was told, you go and study, go to university, do well, and then you get a job and you work for the boss. And then you do your best, right? And I followed that path. That was the reality for me. Having said that, and back to my corporate career, where I ended was, to your point, in a very safe spot, being an expat. I had a title of vice president of the whole business development department, massive, hundreds of people. However, there was always something that wasn't right for me. And no one told me that's entrepreneurship. Let me frame it differently. It was in 2009 that my current, at that time, boss told me after my pitch, my presentation, what if I would give you a ticket to work with our organization somewhere else? And I thought London, close to Amsterdam. And I said, yeah, of course, no problem. He said, oh, all right. They want you in Japan. And I'm still today, I'm sure, the only person who literally within 2 weeks flew out from the Netherlands and moved to Japan. In the end, I spent 7 years in Japan, climbing the career ladder as well. So I lived in many other countries as well, but throughout my career. Maybe one important point, I remember people talking to me in the organization and saying, you are so lucky. You're so lucky. You live in all these countries. You're an expat. You got the right contract, and I'm like, what do you mean lucky? What do you mean lucky? I'm the one behind the driving wheel. It's me. I have to do this. Within the corporate world, everyone will help you, but it's always at arm's length, and it's always to also become better themselves. Most of the time, let me put it that way. So I took that journey myself and deliberately made those choices, because do not underestimate, and I'm sure most of the people can relate if you are living outside of your home country, leaving your friends and family overnight to start somewhere else by yourself, that's painful sometimes. And you know,
yeah, I mean, listen, you got to put in that effort. You got to put in that drive. You got to put in that energy. I mean, when you talk about luck, there are many different ways of defining luck, but nothing ain't going to happen, you know, till you do make it happen. And that's the honest truth.
That's what I mean.
I think the world sees the output rather than the input. So they don't see the effort and the hard work that even goes into being in a position, whether it's in a corporate world or as an entrepreneur. Now, obviously, you know, for a typical entrepreneurship environment, you have co-founders, they come from different environments in life, they bring different strengths to the equation. And I can see already, you know, how you both are different from each other and you complement each other from that perspective. But as individuals, how did you hit it off? Was it entrepreneurship that brought you together, or was there a story before you found entrepreneurs within each other?
I believe that the problem of the food waste and loss is the thing that combined us and made us want to do something towards it.
But this was after you guys were together already?
Yeah. The way we went together, we came together. It's romantic. I had my last job in the big corporate world. I became head of GCC for all innovative product portfolio in pharmaceutical business. And the first day I walked into the office, I saw this pretty lady. I'm like, you know, wow.
It was all planned. You think it's by coincidence,
know.
but all was planned.
Right.
I saw him, I liked him, I said, okay, he's my husband, and then it was all planned.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is yeah.
So she's the one who's handling the sales, right, for Ejaby?
For sure. So this is how it all came about, and we started living together, and then we got married. We got 2 beautiful sons. We're very blessed. But to the point that we saw this problem, right? We like, you know, the abundance of food being served. This is how it all started back in the ideation here in Dubai. We're like, but what are you going to do with all this food, sir? What do you mean? Can we maybe take it, donate it, maybe even buy it from you? No, it's not allowed. No, my boss will not like that. Sorry. And we started thinking about this, right? This is how we approached it.
Yeah, so I had my venture before that, but what started Ejaby is the problem. When we saw the problem and the volume of it, and there is a lot of also, especially in the Gulf and in the Middle East, there is a lot of rules around F&B that make the problem bigger than anywhere else in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, we came to find out way later.
What does Ejaby stand for the people who don't know?
Ejaby means positive in Arabic.
Right. And what was the combination of, you know, food, saving food and, you know, avoiding wastage, sustainability, and Ejaby? How did you connect the dots there?
So Ejaby means positive, and the idea is that we connect suppliers, big suppliers, grocery suppliers, and it's food and non-food items directly to consumer. You get access to overstock, which is actually the average expiry date is 2 months to sometimes 1 year. And you get a premium quality product at a discount. So if we look at it as a something, or it spread positivity everywhere, like the consumer, they get the quality food at discount. Suppliers, they decrease the loss and increase their profit, and environment is positive for the environment. So this is how
So we call that a triple win. And I think to Jigar's question, the positivity came around the fact that we could really leave a positive impact on society by what we're doing.
Okay.
And do not forget, we're for profit, right? We're definitely e-commerce, and we love that. But if you can do that plus leaving an impact, that's amazing. So solving a real problem is what we saw, and what we really start building our tech around. And that in itself, like any entrepreneur, and Jigar, you've started so many companies, you know very well how that journey starts with an idea, and further down the line, it's evolved in something else, right? Some people call it a pivot or whatever, but it's definitely something, the journey that we went through ourselves as well.
And as a part of that journey, so obviously at this point you're both together, you've been talking about, the problem of food wastage in the region, and you've come up with a solution of connecting the wholesalers directly to the consumers. There's one thing that by the way, as a part of the Final Pitch Dubai, that I learned was just how in this market something with such a long shelf life remaining is considered expired.
Yeah.
That's
I
unbelievable.
mean, it was crazy. I mean, I was like, wait, so you're saying these are products which are getting close to expiry, and then all of a sudden you're telling me, oh, but no, it still has a shelf life of 1 year.
1 year.
And I'm like, oh, what product is it that I'm not going to finish in 1 year? And you're like, oh, it's meat. And I'm like, well, get me meat. I'm going to make a barbecue over the weekend. I'm not going to wait a year for it. So it was a bit of a shocker for me, and I think the audience should know a little bit about that as well, because maybe they don't have the same know-how as I did not before meeting you guys.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
You want
Well, I'm sure we can talk about it. Actually, it's literally, it happened literally yesterday again. Those moments where even us as founders, we've seen it before, like, no, this cannot be true. This cannot be true. And I'll give you the example, and I know before I spoke about Wagyu, and in this case, it's again the same thing. It is premium product imported from, in this case again, Japan, and it's got a half-year shelf life. And the supplier working with us,
And the product over here was meat?
it's meat, yeah.
It's meat,
It's absolutely,
it just
it's
this
Wagyu.
case happened
It just happened
yesterday.
Yesterday it came
Okay.
to us, and I've got product that will expire in 6 months' time, and the supplier is calling us up, Ejaby, please help us. We have a real issue. I cannot sell this anymore through my channels. So here, what do you mean you cannot sell?
Like, is it a law that you're not allowed to sell, or is it just an internal requirement that they've sort of created these roadblocks for themselves, which is causing all this food wastage?
I think it's unspoken rule. Like
It's a combination
not
of
written.
both.
Yeah.
It's a combination of both.
So usually when something passed half of the shelf life, in the B2B world, they consider it as an expired. So
Interesting.
Near
as you
expiry.
said,
near
near
they call it.
yeah. So as Max said, it's tons of meat. There's 6 months, but they consider it like they want to get rid of it as something nearly expired. So nearly expired, people think 1 day, 2 days.
Yeah.
But in the B2B world, it's 6 months, 7 months, sometimes a year.
It's unbelievable. And the value that is actually, also the monetary value that's literally being destroyed is crazy, let alone the wastage, right? So
Right.
the environmental burden, the whole monetization behind it, it's literally burning cash. And we're looking into this. And yes, Menna, we call it the 50% rule. That is the rule. So yeah, you've got product that is 2 years before it would expire, right? 50% is 1 year. Yes, that is 1 year, and they have a problem with it. And then what happens is that the buyer side of the equation are coming back saying, this product is past 50%. Hey, hello, it's still 1 year. No. give me your new product.
Right. So you found that problem, and as entrepreneurs, you decided to solve it, right? And you gave birth to the company called Ejaby. At which point did you decide that? Because you were doing a bit of, good things in the marketing world. I mean, you were putting your name out there. Ejaby was, you got a chance to meet Tim Cook because you guys were rated as the app of the month or something along those lines, correct?
Correct.
How was that experience, by the way?
Like a movie. Yeah, like a movie.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't be any less, right?
No, anything less. It is really like the movies. It was in back in Abu Dhabi, somewhere hidden in a big warehouse, and the shooting happened on Sunday, and we had to come and rehearse, dry run, with the US team, PR team on Friday, and everything was meticulously laid out. I corrected a few jokes. Well, that was not appreciated, right?
Right.
So, and we never could mention the name. Remember, it was unbelievable, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say.
No, I mean,
This is
listen.
too much information here.
No, but it's an experience, right? Like, so. I mean, what I'm trying to think is, listen. At the end of the day, you gotta be a part of that exposure that you get along by, being associated and you getting your app out there. I mean, there's a reason behind why your app got voted, and I mean that's showcases the merit of or the value that you've created as an entrepreneur, and you're to be proud of it. But as a part of that journey, at which point in your life were you both exposed to the idea of saying, hey, the final pitch to buy, and we should be a part of it? I want to understand what was that journey where you first heard of it and decided you should give it a shot.
To be honest, one of my friends sent it to me, and then I looked at it, and then I looked at the application and everything, and we applied because it looked like a good opportunity for Ejaby for exposure. We didn't know a lot about the final pitch because we started to watch the final pitch in Asia, and it was more like a pitching competition. But the one in Dubai is reality show, so it's more intense. So we didn't know that, except when after application and the first interview, they started to show us what's gonna happen, not in details, but we understood it's more than just you go and pitch and leave. It's more of a reality show, a journey with the investors and judges and so on. So it didn't take us. Like the moment we saw the application, we applied, and then after the interview, we felt excited because it looked like something different. Nothing. It's not the usual thing.
It wasn't a usual raising fund environment. It was more than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen. To get to that point, a lot of people would have backed out because it does take courage to expose the true form in front of the cameras, in front of the audience, in front of the judges, in front of the investors, right? It's not an impossible task, but many people back out due to lack of confidence. If you had to do something differently during that point of the journey, maybe the stress levels or whatever it was, or maybe not having the pitch decks ready, or you had the pitch decks ready, what would you do differently? Just in that duration where you found out that the show exists, this is what it's about, and boom, you gave your interview for it, or you applied for it.
I don't know. I can't tell you what I could do differently during the show.
Now, I'm talking about the journey just before the show started, right? I mean, there's that whole journey of application that you went through. And I think that's important, and I want to hit on it because while you both had the courage to, lay it bare in front of the world, what you have created and, what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths and all that, not everyone has that confidence. And it's not just about the confidence. There's a lot of homework that goes into it, which the world does not see.
Yeah.
So I want to hit on that part for the entrepreneurs out there who might be considering not necessarily applying for a TV show again, but at least considering applying for raising funds, if nothing else, or maybe just seeking mentorship from people, right? So what legwork or homework goes into getting to that stage?
Well, I think first of all, there's a step before that, and that's really your mindset. Are you open? Are you willing to make a mistake? If you are risk averse, I mean, you will never stand in front of a camera knowing that the whole MENA region will be able to see what you're saying and doing.
But you shouldn't have a startup if you are risk reverse, because startup,
I mean,
it's all about risk.
but that's the whole point. It's not about you shouldn't have a startup. I think it's about changing yourself, adapting to what you need to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I don't think everyone's born or anyone's born an entrepreneur. I think
Yeah, of
everyone has
course.
to learn it along the way. And those are some of the elements, which are the mindset elements that Max is talking about. So I resonate with that because there are some people who are really shy, but then they're some of the best entrepreneurs I know because they've learned to overcome their shyness
The
with a lot of
shyness.
confidence, right?
Yeah.
So, but beyond the mindset, was there any hard work?
In all fairness, we've been pitching quite a bit.
Okay.
There were requirements that we knew of. I mean, we've joined quite a few accelerators, pitch nights, and so forth. So, having said that, there's always a little bit of a tweak of difference. We just discussed it when we were coming over here. That there's always a slightly different request from whoever is the receiver. In this case, the request was different because normally you send your application in and then you get an interview and you're being vetted and that's about it. But here it was like, okay, you're in. Okay, by the way, very quick, we were very happy with that. On Saturday is the first shooting, your interview. And we're like, all right, we didn't see that one coming, right? So then we went in on and did our pitch in front of cameras, which obviously brings it's a different angle to the whole game, right?
Yeah, but there's always this voice that telling you, okay, what if I did something wrong in front of the camera? What if I failed? What if I did something wrong that is make my startup looks not the
I
best?
mean, listen, it's being vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like you're laying it bare out there. But I think what I'm listening and what I'm understanding is that maybe the fact that you guys were practicing, or well, not really practicing, but it was sort of doing it already, which is attending those events and those networking opportunities or those pitching opportunities where it sort of gave you that practice. And if you have that in place, then yes, it's easier to come on a platform such as a TV show like the Final Pitch Dubai. Now, having been selected for participating into the show, tell me something that's gonna be the most memorable, that memory from the whole experience of the Final Pitch Dubai that was gonna stick with you for the rest of your life. And before we talk about other nitty gritties.
For me, because it was very intense, like from morning till night, we are together. We've been choosing by 2 investors, led us to being all the time, every day, shooting. But I was always surrounded by smart people, having a smart conversation. So it was for me, I forgot about the show and I am on the camera. I felt like I'm in a boot camp.
Okay.
So if you tell me exactly how you feel about it, it's like a boot camp to enhance my startup, myself, and so on. So this is the feeling, and I always was feeling like I'm winning. I don't know how. Even you didn't won, but during the journey, I'm feeling every day I'm winning. I'm winning something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a part of knowledge gathering process. Like you, and that's why they say, right, your network is your net worth. Because if you surround yourself with the right people, you do nothing but rise.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important to be selective about the people you expose yourself to, or you let them bring in that mindset and that information. For you, Max, what was any memory that stuck with you from that whole experience?
It is very much like what Menna said. It's like Nash will tell me, you're repeating me. It is, I was going to say, the relationships we built because it was so intense.
Yeah.
It was so intense, and I'm sure it was this intense for the investors as well. And because of that, we actually also created some real friendships, right? Um, that's what I will take away from it. It was, like Menna mentioned, a real boot camp feeling with a winning mentality, and we've gotten really, we've got a lot of great stuff out of it, and not only the network, but the knowledge that we've increased throughout.
So in terms of being selected to go into the next round, I mean, obviously you were selected by 2 investor judges, so that keep you busy. But how did that feel? Just emotionally, because I think entrepreneurship is more of a roller coaster than just a one direction. Like, it's not a staircase; it's a roller coaster. At least in my experience, from what I go through in my journey. How is that feeling? At that point?
Well, I can imagine that people are very happy when they win an Oscar, right? So they're jumping. And you know why? Because they did it all themselves, right? They really worked hard on being the actor, on playing those characters so meticulously in such a way that you have been awarded. And for us, it was an exact similar journey, right? Completely. And in all fairness, and I'm sure you can clearly see that when you watch the show, is when we were picked by you. We didn't expect that one, and because it's like you'll be picked by one investor, and obviously we were hoping either you or Sami, and then we heard your name, and we were like, wow, that's amazing, right?
Because also Sami showed more interest in when we were
A different way.
Maybe I had my poker face
Yeah.
on. I don't know.
No, it was a different way.
No, different way. Yeah. I felt like because he's also in sustainability.
Right.
We felt like, okay, he might choose us.
He might be. You never know, because I remember standing there with all the other participants, and you become really nervous, right? It's like, oh my gosh. And then when we were picked by you, that was amazing. And then I remember we were, please stand here. And then now Sami's picks Ejaby, and we were like, what? So that was an amazing feeling and immediately rewarding, and it immediately built self-worth, right? It's through that journey, because you took that big risk, presenting in front of the cameras and going through and being that vulnerable, then to be awarded and picked by both the investor. It's amazing.
But there's one feeling that, we picked by 2, so we took someone else's place. And
that was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, no.
We felt, you felt a little bit guilty. I don't know, even it's not.
Listen, I mean, I think at this point, every investor has a different mindset. And I think the take from that for me is it doesn't matter what business you're in, right? As an entrepreneur, if you have a great business idea, if you have the right pitch deck, if you've done the right due diligence, if you've done the right thing that needs to be done in front of the investors to get access to them and all that, at the end of the day, every investor is looking for something different, right? And that sort of is the message for the entrepreneurs out there, saying, hey, many a times your business idea might resonate with more than one investor, but many a times it will not. And if just because one declines you, it doesn't mean you stop. So just before the final pitch, how many investors must have you guys approached?
I never count.
So many.
So many.
Yeah.
Really,
I mean,
so
usually
many.
they say it's about, you might, it's when you pitch to 100, you get one meeting. Usually that's what I've heard.
Statistics.
I mean, at least that's how it sort of works for me as well, because ultimately we get this many, pitch decks coming in and them getting filtered, but you'll probably end up having a meeting with 1 out of 100 because they've probably put in that effort in their pitch deck.
But there's a learning there, because you need to know, I mean, there's every investor, or if they are regular investor, you know their type. Like some invest only in B2C, others only B2B. Some doesn't touch anything, need marketing. So this is also it's 1% success, but I learned that what you're saying, it will resonate with some investor and some not, because every investor has his own criteria
I mean,
that
that's a risk profile, industry preferences, sector. I mean, I'm agnostic, right? At the end of the day, I focus more on enabling entrepreneurship. Now, that's something that attracts me and excites me, but then it doesn't mean I don't invest in businesses that seem viable, specifically if they're at a startup journey. But then everyone's got their own take on this, right?
yeah.
Now, obviously, we spoke about the format of the show being a little different from a typical, fundraising platforms, where then you got that opportunity to go through the mentoring period. And I've seen the episodes now, and you were there, I was there, at least for our episode. But what value did you extract out of mentorship? Not necessarily about what happened in that episode or on that show, but just in general, as entrepreneurs, as someone with a lot of corporate experience and a lot of, let's put it this way, marketing/tech experience. When you come across an opportunity to get mentoring, what comes out of it? What's the output?
Well, it also really depends on the relationship you're having with your mentor, and it again starts with yourself. How open are you to criticism? And it's actually, I believe it's an art, because I've been a mentor back in my corporate days as well. It's an art to give someone, positive or negative criticism, whatever you want to call it, but to really give your feedback. It is very important to, on the receiving end, to judge that in the right way. Do not immediately start doubting yourself, like, no. Just try to look at it, unpick it, right? And use those building blocks to become better. It's very, very important. It's great to get appraisal, winning an award. Oh my God, it's amazing. But in the end, the mentors where we resonate really well with are the ones that are really straight to the point. And by the way, you're one of those for sure. Straight to the point, but also then immediately come with one or two potential solutions, if you will,
yeah.
or ways to, or a guidance.
Yeah.
Right. So I think going back to giving feedback, receiving feedback is an art, and this is part of it.
I mean, I remember something that I was always proud that I know everything happening in my company, every single thing. I'm feeling tired because people needs me all the time and so on. And then you told me something when you told me that something has been delayed because you are here in the show. It's not a good sign. Like it shouldn't be this way, because I should be able to delegate, and it's not my presence is that things are moving on. And by the way, because of you, I'm changing a lot now. Because of this is a very small comment, like you mentioned, but it's actually changed the way I'm.
See, I mean, I have a very strong belief that entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship, and investing into buying yourself a job is something else. So when I come across founders who claim to be entrepreneurs, I do a validity test. Are they actually entrepreneurs who are creating a company, or are they creating a job for themselves? And I think that's sort of where we are heading to in this conversation. So yes, I remember that comment. Where are we at? Because the show is called After the Pitch, right? So what has been the progress in terms of the team around you and the people around you, rather than being pretty much the bottleneck to your own business?
Yeah. Max he has this ability to delegate. So I don't think Max is there already. I think the problem was with me. Like, I'm always hands-on and with each team, and they wait for my feedback every day. I improved, especially in operations. I improved a lot, I know, and I became more and more watching, empowering, and so on. And this is, by the way, one of the reasons is your feedback. And of course, the tech, I am trying because there's a lot happening in tech, especially with the AI, automation, AI agents, and so on. This is also work in progress, yeah. But
okay. I mean, listen, I think the gist is that, when you are a founder, and you have that bias that I know it all. I know my business better than anyone else, right? I have been living it, breathing it. Um, what I want the world to understand is the value of mentorship.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. It doesn't matter how many businesses I have launched, but I tell you all that I take coaching as well. And when I say coaching, in the sense, I go speak to successful business people out there to understand what made them successful, and learn from them, observe them, absorb from them. And then at the same time, I will also speak to people who have had failures, because those are great lessons
course.
to be absorbed as well, as to, okay, what do they believe went wrong. So you never know how their experiences can shape yours in the future. But at the same time, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are hesitant, because there's that stigma that I need to know it all, and if I seek help, I'm gonna look weak. So that's why I wanted to touch on that point, as to, in your journey, you come from a very senior position in the corporate world, and managing teams of hundreds. It's easy to assume that, listen, I know how to manage people, and I know how to get things done. And you can come and say, okay, I had 500,000 plus women following me, but try getting a new business to have 500,000 customers. It's a very different conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I wanted to touch on that point, as to what value do you think mentoring brings to you both?
Oh my God, we ask a lot of people,
Yes, absolutely. And all to your point, you need to be open to it and absorb, be open to learn. I called up a supplier last week, a distributor, and I did exactly this. It's not necessarily someone or a company that would work with us. I called him up and say, hey, I want to meet. He's like, what do you want to meet? I said, you know what? I want to learn from you. I'm going to come over and we're going to have a conversation and we're going to talk about your business. And you know what happened? He was first a little bit hesitant, and then, okay, let me show you around. And then it all came to life. He showed me his new warehouse they're building. It's amazing. I asked all sort of questions around how he does business, how to do the trading, import, export, how that works. It is very, very interesting. And it took me 1.5 hours of my day, and I left with an enormous amount of positive baggage that I can use. And he felt fantastic, because he could now also talk about his success, right? So I try to do this every single day. In fact, my motto is, and Menna knows this very well, I want to learn every day. And I say this in every conversation. I will say it right now. Today, I will learn from you, and you will probably learn from us. This is the way, life. This is what I believe, the way you should focus on, basically every day in your life, but in relation to your business, this can really fast forward what you're doing today.
Okay, and in terms of being on the show, getting that mentoring, and coming to the finale, what were the nerves like coming back into the finale with a revised version of your pitch?
Yeah. First, we were so tired. Every day from 5 a.m., you were really exhausted. And if you see the show, you will see our faces like it. But it was, there is an excitement as well. So imagine you are under pressure and you need to perform. So this teach you a lot about yourself, how you can perform under pressure. And then you need to be smart enough. We were smart enough to understand how to refine our pitch after learning from both you and Sammy, how to refine our pitch so we get a yes. And this is what we were thinking about. So we thought about, okay, knowing them, what we need to change to get a yes at the end of the show. And this was our focus, why we are refining our pitch.
So it's about persistence, and it's about resilience, and it's about keeping on that grind of trying to achieve what you wanted to achieve as an output of being a part of that show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just as a little bit of an anecdote, we were the last ones to pitch. So we saw all the other ones going through their pitch. We could even feel their nerves. We could, obviously, the interaction, the type of questions, some were really out there. I was like, whoa, that were amazing questions, but for the entrepreneur, we felt obviously, as we were bonding so much with the whole team,
Yeah.
with all the
We
other
felt for
the
them,
fellow
yeah.
participants, we felt for them as well, right? So, and then it was our turn, and I remember we were standing behind the curtain to hold each other's hand, and a pretty cold hand, right?
I mean, listen, it is an environment where real questions are going to be asked, whether
Yes, for
tough
sure.
or not. And sometimes the hardest image to look is the real version of yourself in the mirror. And as an investor judge, usually that's what at least I try to do, is put a real mirror in front of the investor, and the judges and the entrepreneurs, and say, okay, depending on what role I'm playing on that particular day, am I an entrepreneur, am I a judge, or am I an investor? It would end up becoming one of those things where you're asking the tough questions from whichever angle you're seeing it from. You didn't expect to jump from the sky as a part of the show, did you?
Oh my
Definitely not
God.
me.
It knocked me as well. It was because they told us, wear active wear. We will do some exercise in the morning, and we gathered in an hotel, and we were waiting, and they putting some makeup on us, and then suddenly when the car, like we were saying what it will be, and the wildest thing we thought about is bungee jump.
Okay.
This is the wildest we thought
Pretty
about.
close.
Yeah, but still
A
completely
bit
different.
higher.
Yeah. So, sorry, zip lining even. We didn't go
Okay.
to bungee jump. We thought about, it might be like this is the wildest zip lining. And then when we found ourselves at Skydive Dubai, it was obvious what we were gonna do when the car went there. And of course, and for me, I love it. I did it before. I love it, but it was me still was like I'm trying to digest what's happening here, and I like it a lot. I felt like you're pushing everyone to see what will come up, like who will be courage enough, who will jump, who will not jump, and
You know what's the trick over there? The trick over there is, frankly speaking, in entrepreneurship, and I think you guys now know it way more than even before, is you're going to be facing challenges every day.
yeah,
What's going to matter is, as an investor, is that you have the ability to keep facing those challenges. It's not to say you're enjoying the challenge. It's not to say that you're in the best frame of mind to deal with that challenge. But challenges come unannounced, and you got to be in that position, not running away, facing, giving your back to it, but just grinding through it. And sort of, it also resonates with me, saying the idea of, if I'm gonna, invest in you, listen, are you in for the jump? Because we are gonna jump together, right? And that was the whole
it's
idea.
very cool, to be honest. Really cool. Like other than it was like a surprise for us, but we all like the
Okay, and
experience.
and obviously the show's done. It's been out there. You've been out. You've been talking about Ejaby. You've had an update to the app, and the product's improving constantly. You're getting new goods on the product as well. I mean, on Ejaby, on the platform as well. So it's not just meat; it's multiple things. Tell us a little bit about your journey post the show. How do you think the show changed?
Before saying this, I will comment on something, and I will let Max answer this question. There is very interesting thing when the show is aired and I'm watching it. I'm saying, "Oh my God, we are beyond there." So we're still talking. We will implement AI and so on, and then now our AI is much more advanced. We were talking about improving our tech. Our tech is much more improved. Our supplier is improved. Even our language, our pitch deck, how we define ourselves, and
Our
it's
data
so
room.
For data room. Very important.
yeah.
Very
So
important.
it's very interesting when the show was aired, and I started to watch myself. I felt like it's a very long time ago, even it's a couple of months ago, by the progress we had made since then, and this is really very, very interesting.
And why do you think, because you were having this business prior to the show and you've had it since then, why do you think the speed with which the progress came after the show was exponential?
I think many things, of course. We learned a lot during the show. Like, we have been tested, pressure tested, and there is where a lot of brainstorming idea came from the show that we need to test. We had you and Sam as advisors, so also there's like you helping us a lot, of course. And there is this, I don't know, but you have this understanding. Like I came out of a show feeling like I'm in a race. I need to win. Like I have to improve every single day, because after 1 month I need to say what I have done. You know, like after each month I need to show better traction, better tech, better pivot the model. Maybe it's this feeling, that the race feeling.
Yeah.
You took it from the show and you continue doing it.
I mean, listen, that's what entrepreneurship is right? There's no finish line. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, if there's a race which has a finish line, it's over. What's next? I mean, I think that's why entrepreneurship is more about a journey. And what you face as a part of that journey is going to pretty much define who you become as human beings. Every day you're going to have a different mood. Every day you're going to have a different curveball thrown at you. Some are good, some are not.
Yeah.
Some days the emotions are positive, some days they're negative. Some days the news are positive, some days they're not. And life moves on while you're being an entrepreneur. Your kids, are growing up. They still have to go to school. You as a couple have to coexist. Things happen, and this is all happening in parallel. So post the show, what's changed? How has life changed?
Overall, obviously, Menna just spoke about what actually happened through the show. And I already mentioned we've been invited for more podcasts. Even had someone from Australia calling me up last week as well, which is amazing because it's Ejaby's brand, it's a personal brand. So that's definitely a very positive repercussion from joining the final pitch. It's an amazing experience. I would say, because the coexistence with, we sometimes we explain people, like especially early starting entrepreneurs, and we speak about our situation, right? So we do the business together. We live obviously in the same house. We're also husband and wife. We got 2 beautiful sons, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, who are very active. Again, we're very blessed. How do you? There was one person like 1 month ago. Do you live? Actually, do you actually live? But because you actually sparked something in my mind when you just mentioned everything happens in parallel. And it was only this morning when I thought to myself, I was driving, and I'm like, yeah, regardless, we're working so hard on the startup, but at the same time, my boys are growing up, my parents are growing older. Life is happening. It's not a surrogate life. It's real. It's all at the same time. And that brings me to a point that I started with. This is my New Year's 2026 resolution, which is all about live life as well. Do live your life as well. And yes, every day there's a challenge. Literally today, another curveball was thrown at me 2 hours ago. No joke. But it's how are you handling that? How are you really absorbing that and try to bring that into positive energy? And that's turn it into positive energy. And every entrepreneur has sleepless nights. And I had a few last week, and it was actually because I was so excited with an idea I had. I couldn't stop thinking about this new avenue, potential avenue for Ejaby. So,
and then he wake me up,
I mean, listen, it's easy.
This is not,
I mean, I can't get, in touch with my co-founders at 3 a.m. But I mean, you guys have the opportunity.
But we are having
you did the same to me 2 weeks ago. Like,
so we wake each other in 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It's very, and you find us talking about the business,
But I mean, listen, just because it's not a common dynamic. I mean, yes, we know that there are couples who are, business partners, but it's not common. The reality is that. As it is, there are enough challenges between co-founders and business partners.
Oh, yes.
How do you both deal with it?
That's an amazing question.
Is she always right?
Of course.
There you go. This is the first rule for every married couple.
But
not even if
I
you're
am
in
always
business.
right
But
as
what
a
if
wife.
now
As a wife.
Exactly. But
Not
what
as a
if
business.
as a business partner?
This is a very important.
Where do you draw the line? Because remember, you're discussing business ideas in your bedroom, so there's no real difference between are you at work or are you a couple at that moment.
No, but every one of us, it took some time to realize that, but every one of us has their own strength. So if I'm talking about operation and tech marketing, it's me. It's my responsibility, and I am the one who will provide the right insights. Even we discuss together, but it's my strength. If you're talking about business development, Max is like also people person. He can go in the room, understand everyone, how they feel, what they do, being able to deal with everyone, understand people. He can understand people. He's good at business development. He's good at investor relations. So it took us some time to understand each other and work on each other's strength. To be honest,
Did you write a job descriptions for each other?
We
We
do
have it
have
in
them, but we
our-
didn't
yeah.
write them. I think it evolved, and we're lucky in the sense that, and thanks for the compliments, but we're lucky in the sense that we're really complementary. We're really different personalities, even in leadership styles, in the way we approach the business, and that we're lucky with that. Otherwise, it wouldn't literally be impossible. But definitely, this really works out well for us. For co-founders overall, you need to really, obviously, first of all, respect each other. In business and outside of business. One thing a rule that I always abide by is that you can be tough on the business, but not tough on the person. Yeah. This is something that I've learned also back in my corporate days, but this is very important. So when it happens, when it really starts boiling in the room, we revert back to that, and we're like, okay, we draw the line here now, right? Sometimes I'm telling Menna, will you say this to a colleague the way you express your emotions now to me? Or is this more like husband-wife? Like, oh yeah, okay. So then we try to bounce back, and we bounce back quickly. This is our most important strength.
Now we are good. Like in the beginning, I believe also I wanted Max to be doing what I'm doing, to think what I'm thinking,
Possible.
You always think your co-founder is like you. And when we shifted this to look at each other, because we are different, so look at each other as complementary to each other, it's completely different. And everyone has his own strength.
Yeah.
So I am very detailed-oriented, very operational, Max visionary, doing great at relations. So now it's very, I feel it's a perfect mix.
So, I mean,
but
I have
before-
a say for this is that in business, it doesn't matter if you're co-founders or not, but let's say if you as an individual have a business idea, where you're trying to, bring a business solution for a problem, you understand what are your strengths, you understand what are the needs of the business, and then you have to fill the gaps. Now, those gaps can be filled by the means of co-founders, employees, consultants, freelancers, doesn't matter. But ultimately, it's about bringing more and more people to fill that gap rather than bringing in more and more people at the start, at least, to do the same role.
The same thing. Yeah, you're right.
And if you can get that right, then it's only about expanding the business where you need more and more people, and you'll need a bigger team, and you'll need a bigger network. How much of your ideas and your vision on day one are in line with your ideas and vision for Ejaby today? Because it's been a couple of years from the idea.
1%. It's completely different.
I'm purposely asking this question because I sort of know the answer already.
it's crazy how you start, you believing in it, and the startup journey humble you in a way that you first you think about your idea as your baby. You want to protect it from any changes. You want to keep it as is. You believe it's the best idea in the world. Then you find out if you don't pivot fast and just change a lot during your journey, and still you need to because there is a changes you need to do because your idea wasn't perfect as you think, and then you might pivot completely, but also because the dynamic happening around you, world is changing very fast, so you need to continue changing to be able to survive. So it's completely different when we start.
Well, and then there is a tricky thing actually. Because you have an idea and an overall vision on solving a problem has not changed, but there's so many other aspects that's completely changed. The fact that we're, for instance, working way earlier in the supply chain. But I lost my trail here.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I really want additional point on the journey, right? Yeah, no, oh yeah, here it is. Um, as an entrepreneur, suddenly you got so many ideas. You see so many opportunities, and there's my advice: stay in your lane, stay focused on what you're building, and then you can look into the next opportunity. You cannot do everything at the same time because you see things happening, you see a solution, and you want to, okay, we can, with our tech, we can fill that gap, and that's. And you need to really pause, reflect.
That's scary.
And then it gets really scary. So stay in your lane is the way I want to frame it.
Because it's easy to be distracted by many things. And
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between pivoting and then trying to solve every problem at the same time. I mean, listen, if you have the right team to solve one problem, yes, you can start solving the second,
of
right?
course.
What would be Max, I'll ask you first. What would be your one piece of advice to entrepreneurs out there who are probably sitting on a business idea, maybe with or without an MVP, but are considering raising funds? From your experience, from your journey, what's your one piece of advice to them?
Get your idea out there. Do not sit on it. Do not try to make it perfect because it will never be perfect. Bring it and be ready then to learn from the feedback because it's not always going to be pretty. So you need to be strong. You need to stand strong, but definitely bring it out in the open and learn from what you're doing. So in order to become stronger as an entrepreneur.
Well, what about you? One piece of advice for the entrepreneurs out there.
So my golden piece of advice that when we started, we know there is the problem and we wanted to solve it. But when we are improving ourselves, I was working on improving the tech, improving the team, improving not improving the way I'm solving the problem. So I am becoming more valuable. So what I'm trying to say is that get your idea out there and test it, but work on the idea itself before you're working on the product, the people, the team, and so on. Work on making the idea very strong.
Listen, I wrote a piece of article on this topic very recently where it was, and I put a post out too saying people aren't buying features.
Exactly.
Right? If you can sell the solution, that's what's going to matter. I mean, and I think that's sort of the error entrepreneurs make, unfortunately, especially when it's a tech-based solution. The idea is to focus on the problem and the solution rather than the channel of delivery, which is the digitization and the tech. I mean, in today's day and age, yes, it has to be tech-enabled. We have to try to bring business efficiencies by the use of AI, automation models and the likes, but the focus has to be the business rather than the channel of delivery of that solution.
Exactly. And as you said in the beginning, we were focusing, we see the problem, but we're focusing, to improve our product features and so on, but we didn't focus
absolutely.
We didn't focus on how to make our business more valuable, and this is...
And just one thing, because Menna's interest really is in tech, and the more she learned about it on the job, the more excited she became. And let's use that as an example. And at some point, we were going we wanted to be a Rolls Royce, whilst we actually just, that's not needed. If you got your second hand whatever Honda, with all respect, but that's going to get you from A to B. This is what an MVP is about. We went, we can talk for hours on.
Yeah. I mean, listen, MVP is about get it there as fast as you can in the most affordable way while maintaining the essence of the quality and the product and the business solution that you're bringing, right? I mean, I think if you can get that right, you will have a great MVP.
Absolutely.
And you'll not waste a lot of time in your entrepreneurial journey. Listen, as a part of, before, we wrap up, is there any other questions you would like for me to ask?
You said you started your business at 12. I know. I want to know more about that. I'm intrigued,
Right. I mean, listen, the first business that I ran at the age of 12 was to do with running a retail store, a jewelry store, where I had been getting groomed in the family business of doing odd jobs. By the age of 12, my dad decided, for whatever reason, had confidence in me. I still question it. But I think I must have done a few things right for sure, and I know what things I was doing right. Was to hand over the keys of the kingdom to me and say, here you go. So from that point, it was more about procurement decisions, staffing decisions, and, being on the floor throughout and it was for a decent 3 months where I was exposed individually, independently, to manage a lot of responsibilities around running that show. And it sort of gave me the confidence. And I think that's very important for the future generations to come, which is there's only so much theory and books and TikTok and podcasts and YouTube is going to teach you, but you don't really learn it all unless you go into the grind. And the best thing you can do for yourselves or for your future generations is take your kids, make them a part of that learning curve.
Okay, I'm sending my kids to you, Jigar.
Um,
Just one
up.
another year.
right? I mean, at this point, it's. Listen, it also comes from a place of interest, right? And as kids, every kid has a different interest. So it's about what interests does that individual have, and how do you bring that kid to the world of entrepreneurship where they think they're playing, but in reality, they're learning the trade of business. And that if that can be married, I mean, you get success stories out of it, right?
I have another question.
Go for it.
I'm doing the podcast now.
Go for it.
So you're saying that your dad,
Yeah, he empowered me.
Yeah.
He encouraged me, taught me the right lessons and the wrong lessons, because there were many things that I learned not to do by looking at what he was doing, and what I could observe is causing the loss.
Yeah, this is very good point. So, because there were a debate about that if the kids get the right education, the right exposure, doesn't have to be family money, but it's if the kids get the right the opportunities that you get, they only will be successful, very successful in life, like very very successful. But if the kids get none of that, and he started to teach himself or go through the journey, like later on when he's 30 something, they cannot be ever like the next Elon Musk and so on.
I think, listen, at this point, the benchmark of success has to be clearly defined. Because if you're going to tell me that the benchmark for success is Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, then I would tell you got it wrong. Because for me, success comes from a place of many things, not just the monetary value. And success also comes from a place of where was your starting line and where was mine. Now, while I did have that background of the privilege of, having the family business as my learning school for business, but not many people know that I also am a self-made man in the perspective that I did take 5,000 dirhams from my father to put it in a bank to open up a savings account, and that was it. Anything and everything that came from that point on was out of me doing jobs, working in corporate. I worked in banks, saved money, invested money, lost money, been an entrepreneur, taken the risks. People see the 30, 40, whatever companies, I grow and they are successful and then I have exited. What they don't also see is the 100+ companies that I have actually launched and had to shut down because it didn't work.
That is very important.
So I think that's why it's, you always see the output, but it's important for you to focus on the input, what's gone in through that person's journey to get to where they are. What must have that person gone through to be so fearless? What must have that person gone through? I mean, we talk about imposter syndrome, for example. I mean, so at this point, I think it's also something that evolves with life, frankly speaking. I mean, I don't think I saw life the way I'm talking about it right now at the age of 10 or 12. I mean, success for me meant money, simply speaking. I mean, as a kid, young adult, young teenager, what is successful? The more money you have is the more successful you are. Your aim was Bill Gates. That was what it was all about, right? When time passes and you become wiser or you get more experiences, your definition of success evolves. And for me today, at least I can say what my measurement of success is today is being able to empower entrepreneurs, enable entrepreneurship and feeding my soul, rather than feeding my body, if I call it that. And I also appreciated that you can only say these things once you've done enough to have that financial stability and security. And I'm not going to deny the value of having money, but it's also after which point is it immaterial.
Yeah.
Because there is that line after which it's now you can grow your house as big as you want, but you live in that one room.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we always, yeah.
So that room is for you to live in, the house is for the world to see in. What gives you satisfaction is up to you.
I look at the success like luxury of choice. Like you can choose where you want to live. You can choose which country. You can choose
Healthy kids, healthy family, time spent, quality time spent, being happy. I mean, you can't really put a monetary value to
Yeah,
these
of
things,
course.
right? So from that perspective, I mean, is that successful, or having, $1 trillion valuation with no one to share your happiness with?
No,
and I mean, I'm hoping no one has to go
buy
through
friends,
that. Yeah, you can buy friends. I hear you. It depends whereabouts are
buy
you.
friends, kids.
In terms of, you've been speaking about, sustainability and environment, and you care about how you launched Ejaby on the back of seeing this food being wasted and wanting to solve that problem. You guys were nominated for an award when it comes to sustainability and environment. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
We have been choosing as one of Future 100
Right.
by the Ministry of Economy. Yeah.
Of
In
UAE.
the UAE, yeah.
Yeah.
And what other recognition?
Well, you were invited by the direct circle of the ruler. Remember, you met the ruler because of Ejaby.
Yeah, I met also the ruler of Dubai for an initiative related to entrepreneurship. They invited just few startups, and I was one of them. We have, as we said, we met Tim Cook because he liked the idea a lot, and mainly what they liked about our app is that how to use app technology and technology in general to solve a real world problem, a big problem.
And then back to the UAE. At this very moment, we're part of NIMA. This is run by the government. It's a very, very big project where food waste is. Their goal is to eliminate or at least reduce food waste by 50% by the year 2030. And NIMA is a very, very prominent organization. We're part of that at the moment. One of the most beautiful things that I personally attended was one around setting guidelines, specifically around supply chain and
Nice.
food loss. And I remember sitting at the table with academia, governmental representatives, manufacturers of product, and distributors. And then there was me. And it was a fantastic meeting because we could really all share our opinions and discuss and debate the problem specifically of food loss early on. And I always, when I sit at those tables, I'm like, yeah, we've done that ourselves. We're here because of what we're doing. No one told us before that we could do that. This came to us. And it makes you very rich in a way that you're really able to share your views and have a direct impact on guidelines being set out by such an
I think
organization.
that's why I definitely became a government advisor, because I think to create a long-term impact, you have to hit it at that regulatory framework perspective. So if you can tap into that and you can add your 2 cents to it, it also gives you exposure to really intelligent people. But then beyond that, it's also about creating a long-lasting impact. In terms of Okay, so in terms of living your life, right? Like we spoke about that, your resolution. I want to hit a little bit more about what's upcoming, what's in the future for yourselves and for Ejaby.
If I'm talking about the tech, we are doing a lot for Ejaby. Like we are improving, and in a way that you can scale very fast with no need for resources. We are using AI agents, AI technology. This is my scope. I focus on tech, and which will reflect on the operations, because when you automate everything, the operation can be seamless. We also
So you're basically trying to make his life easier.
I think so from my point of view, when it comes to Ejaby, we're a light asset business, and we already have our talks underway in Saudi Arabia, quite well advanced actually. So that's something we're very proud of. To really cover the broader region, being light asset and being the problem, being so prominent across the region, gives us a massive opportunity.
we also there is some other business models that we are going to test, but I cannot,
Okay, listen, I mean, I think, listen, from that perspective, you have a long journey in front of you. What's going to be important is that you have fun while you're on that journey. And you couldn't have asked for a better business partner to have that fun with. So I think keep hustling, keep grinding, keep growing, and keep learning.
Yeah.
And one more point, celebrating incremental wins. Even the smallest win, the smallest success needs points of focus and needs to be spoken out to each other as founders and shared with the team, because that's what keeps you going. There's so many curveballs in a day, and of course you want to bring the solution to the table, but when you make that win, even if it's a tiny one, recognize it, because that's what
I'm
really
not
brings the
good at
fun to the
this,
business.
and what's next?
Yeah, I think it's just the way some people are wired, where once something has been resolved or a problem statement has found the solution to it, you immediately switch on to
It suits me.
well, that's why you guys are yin and yang, right? I mean, it helps.
No, absolutely, but it's an acquired learning, by the way, because you're constantly. But if there would be another piece of advice, really look at those things, because you've accomplished all of that. I mean, yes, you meet Tim Cook. Yes, you met the ruler. So yeah, what's next? So yes, you were in the final pitch to buy. Yes, you won. Okay, let's have a moment to reflect and award those moments, and that's what I meant. And I think that's truly important for an entrepreneur.
Listen, I think that's critical, right?
Yeah.
As far as life is concerned, that's critical to celebrate successes and milestones and achievements while keep grinding on solving new problems every day and dealing with those curveballs as they keep coming. It's all about working in parallel. Listen, it's been wonderful talking to you, Menna and Max. We've all seen what you've created. For those who haven't, please feel free to see the final pitch to Dubai on OSN Plus. It's streaming now. And on a parting note, I would like to say is that you have your hearts in the right place, and that is enough to take you to a lot of distance. But what's going to matter next in life is what you do every time you're put in a position of making a decision for your business. So thank you for, sharing your time with us.
Thank you, Jigar.
Thank you.
For the opportunity.
Thank you. That was After the Pitch, where we have real conversations with real founders, those that had courage to build and create value. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all at the next episode of After the Pitch.